This week, without a doubt, the relentless attacks by the IDF on Gaza, especially the review of deaths of 15 humanitarian workers, dominated our agenda. On Wednesday, the Secretary General issued a statement once again expressing his deep alarm over the devastating human toll caused by the intensified hostility in Gaza.
He condemns the reported killing of over 1,000 people, including women and children, since the collapse of the ceasefire. Large-scale Israeli bombardments and ground operations have resulted in the widespread destruction and the displacement of over 100,000 Palestinians from Rafah in the last 2 days alone, most of them having already been displaced multiple times and having been displaced with very few belongings.
Regarding the humanitarian situation in Gaza, the UN strongly dismissed Israel's claim that there is enough food for long-term use, calling it ridiculous.
Israel says there's still enough food that was delivered to Gaza during the ceasefire. What is the UN's response to that?
As far as the UN is concerned, that's ridiculous. I mean, we are at the tail end of our supplies. Of the supplies that came in through the humanitarian route. WFP doesn't close its bakeries for fun. If there's no flour, if there's no cooking gas, the bakeries cannot open.
Is this accusation of Hamas possessing the aid from UN NGOs are false?
The UN has kept a chain of custody, and a very good chain of custody on all the aid it's delivered.
Not only is food not entering Gaza, but as more evacuation orders are enforced, humanitarian operations are also facing increasing rejections from Israeli authorities. Is that normal? Did they give you any reasons why there's an increasing denial of the operations inside Gaza?
And often, and this has been the case since the beginning of the war, those coordinated efforts are denied, impeded, or are blocked. So the increase is related to the expanding military operations on the ground and our increased need to coordinate in proximity to Israeli forces and the denials that are coming with that. And that is a problem. It shouldn't be the case.
This week, the Security Council held 2 meetings on Middle East, one emergency session on the situation in Gaza and another on the protection of civilians in conflicts. Assistant Secretary General Joyce Msuya briefed the Council, highlighting the severe challenges faced by humanitarian workers, not only in Gaza, but across the world.
Gaza is the most dangerous place for humanitarians ever. We extend our condolences to the families of the victims. We demand answers and call for justice. And since we are here today to discuss the protection of aid workers, I must ask this Council, what are you going to do to help us find those answers and achieve justice and avoid more killings?
Meanwhile, this April, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations is launching a new initiative, a call for peace, the end of wars, and respect for international law. Why is this initiative significant from a cultural perspective?
And what we wanted to create this new movement today that citizens around the world with different culture, different concerns, they have suffered, the disaster of war, and they have to gather together to tell the whole international community that they have to really call for this cry for peace and end of war and respect international law.
Turning to Myanmar, the devastating earthquake has shocked the international community, and the UN is mobilizing its resources for disaster relief. And here's what the Secretary General had to say.
I appeal in particular to the international community to immediately step up vitally needed funding to match the scale of this crisis. I appeal for rapid, safe, sustained and unimpeded humanitarian access to reach those most in need across the country. And I appeal for every effort to transform this tragic moment into an opportunity for the people of Myanmar. I welcome the announcement of temporary ceasefires. This is essential to help aid flow and let rescuers do their jobs.
Finally, this week marks the beginning of France's presidency of the Security Council. Many people have told me they feel the Council is becoming increasingly irrelevant. What does the President of the Security Council have to say about that?
Let me just walk back a little bit. Since 2022, after the Ukrainian crisis, the Security Council has never adopted any resolutions until recently. And after that, when Gaza started its war, there are several adopted resolutions, but never get respected. So can you tell us, as a permanent member of the Security Council, why this council is still relevant? And how can you improve its work to prove it's relevant? Thank you.
Judging the relevance of the Security Council by a short-term analysis of the situation of conflicts would be a little bit limited as an analysis. And I would tend to take it in a longer perspective. Yes, the Security Council needs to constantly review its methods of work, its decisions, the operation that it is deciding, the capacity it has to bring situations closer to a solution or not. It has to do this.
Well, and that's all from me.